Elon Musk is popular for his wealth and thriving companies, almost to the point of neglecting that he has a social life. Before his billionaire story, he was a husband and a father. Unfortunately, he has had 3 divorces since his first marriage. Yet still, it is interesting what his ex-wife Justine has to say about him. Join me today to hear some revealing truths about Elon from someone who knew him best, the mother of his 5 sons. Elon Musk's origin is traced back to Pretoria, South Africa, where he was born and raised until the age of 17. Afterwards, he decided to move to Canada, where his mother lived as a result of an abusive relationship with his father, whom he stayed with in Pretoria. While in Canada, Musk enrolled in Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario, to study physics and economics. Later, he would meet his first wife, Justine. At the time, Justine was only 18 years old, studying English literature, while Elon was 19 years old and a year ahead of her. She was recovering from her first love with an older man and was thinking of getting a poetic, rebellious, and tortured guy, a real-life Romeo, all of which Elon failed to meet. On the contrary, Elon was a clean-cut nerd with a South African accent, quite shy but fervently upbeat. Justine recalls their first meeting being at the steps of her dorm on an afternoon when Musk stepped in front of her, claiming to have met her at a particular party. Of course, he was lying, and he confessed to Justine years later that he had seen her across the common room at college and decided he wanted to meet her. Their star chance meeting turned out well, as Justine quickly said yes to Musk's invitation to have an ice cream. But Justine immediately turned down the tech nerd's offer and blew him off with a note on her dorm room door. The note said that she had an exam that she had to study for, so she could not make it for the ice cream date, and that she was sorry. Unfortunately, Justine would not have her way, as Elon was a guy who didn't take no for an answer. Musk hunted down Justine's best friend and did some research on where she liked to study and her favorite type of ice cream. Skinny Musk showed up several hours later at the student center with a melting chocolate chip ice cream cup in his hand. Who would say no to such a gesture? Let's just say Justine said yes all the way and gave in to Musk's advances, yet she still played hard to get most of the time. She soon realized that Musk wasn't just a normal man. He had a rare genius, perhaps only comparable to the likes of Albert Einstein. He was at home with math and numbers, logic and commerce. They shared some absurd psychological classes and compared grades, which Justine aced with a 97, while Elon notched a 98. Musk later went and talked his way to getting a clean 100% as he convinced his lecturer about the 2 lost points. Their friendship felt like a competition in a way. One time when they went to a bookstore, Justine expressed that one day she'll have a book sold at a bookstore. Unlike her previous boyfriends and girlfriends who would laugh off her crazy idea and call her too competitive, Musk held up her idea and took her very seriously. He even went further to comment that she had a fire in her soul and that he even saw himself in her. As Justine would say, Musk had a soft romantic side to his geeky relentlessness. Anytime Justine would act cool towards him, he would respond with a show of force. She described it as, he would call very instantaneously. You would know when it was Musk calling, as the phone never stopped ringing. He was always undeterred. He would fix his gaze on something and say, "It shall be mine," and go for it. Inasmuch, their relationship at the campus was on and off because of 2 reasons. Musk was pursuing a couple of other girls, and Justine was just not into Musk. Aside from that, they had studies to juggle with. Even more from Musk, he had tight finances and had to work hard to keep up. After Justine graduated from Queen's, she went and taught ESL in Japan for about a year. By then, she and Elon went their separate ways. From Japan, Justine got a bartending job back in Canada as she worked on her dream of being a novelist. She described it at the time she longed for her and Elon to reunite and told her sister, "If Elon ever calls me again, I think I'll go for it. I might have missed something there." Musk called Justine a week later, and guess what? She moved in with him within the first many visits. Her geeky boyfriend was staying in Silicon Valley and sharing an apartment in Mountain View with 3 other roommates. He was establishing his first startup, Zip2. During that time, Justine confessed that Musk was very supportive of her. At one time, when they visited a bookstore, Musk gave Justine his credit card, telling her, "Buy as many books as you want." No man would match his sweetness. 2 years later, the couple got married in 2000. Justine wrote about their first dance at the wedding reception. Her husband whispered to her, "I am the alpha in this relationship." She explained that she shrugged it off just as she shrugged off a postnup agreement she unknowingly signed. A postnup is a legal agreement signed after a couple is legally wedded, outlining how assets should be divided should the couple split or divorce. She later realized that Musk was serious about his statement, as her marriage fairy tale didn't quite turn out as she expected. First, when the couple welcomed their first son, Nevada, who soon passed away at 10 weeks due to sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS, Musk would not have a word of it. She didn't understand him, just as he didn't understand why she wept so openly. Musk had grown up in a male-dominated culture in South Africa. As this trait helped him climb the business ladder, it didn't magically shut off when he came back home. According to Justine, Musk was also different in marriage, and certain dynamics were beginning to take hold of their new marital status. Alpha Musk soon started to make comments on how Justine was lacking in their relationship. Justine described that Musk's judgment overruled hers, and she felt so little in his eyes. Often, she would remind Musk that she was his wife and not his employee, to which Musk would answer, "If you were my employee, I would fire you." This alpha trait still got the better of their relationship, as Elon required Justine to dye her hair blonde and still dye it platinum, a demand to which Justine would not comply. Justine would later explain that Musk had a type that he realized he wanted, so he would tailor the woman he had to fit that type rather than finding that type. She went on to talk about Musk's girlfriend Riley, who got engaged to Musk as her hair was black but soon got blonder and blonder. On a brighter note, Justine shared some interesting traveling escapades with Elon. As you already know, Elon is a typical nerd. During their travels, when he had to fill out the customs forms, Elon never wrote that he was CEO or king of the world. He would just write engineer. He would wear a t-shirt and jeans to work. Whenever they would shop for clothes, Musk would insist, "I can't look cool or hip because I have to look like an engineer." He would wonder why the suits would have more money than the engineers, yet it was the engineers who made the stuff that they were selling. The engineers would explain things to the suits, but they had no idea what the engineers were saying. Justine continued to say that is when she understood that Elon had learned to speak both languages, and he could shift between the two tribes because he was an engineer in a suit. She attributed the end of their 8-year marriage to Elon's stressful work and demanding schedules. Whenever Musk was home, his mind was elsewhere, thereby starving his wife of her emotional needs for a friend and a soulmate. She wrote in her blog, Marie Claire, "I longed for deep and heartfelt conversations, for intimacy and empathy." Furthermore, Musk started complaining that she read too much, leaving her miserable as she remembered the days he was supportive. Her faults came under the microscope. It wasn't soon that she became worried about how their relationship would affect their 5 sons. After trying some counseling sessions, Musk decided to file for a divorce in 2008, leaving Justine depressed and strangely relieved. Looking back, Justine does not regret her marriage or her divorce from Musk, though she was honest to recognize that she had to deal with some anger, one towards Musk for rendering me so disposable, and the other towards herself for burying herself in a fairy tale fantasy when she should have known better. To this end, thank you all for watching this video. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss out on the latest news about Elon Musk, Tesla, and SpaceX.